Okay, next we're looking at simplifying radicals involving the denominator. So when you see this, the square root or radical is on the bottom of the fraction. That's a problem. They can't be on the bottom. So how we're going to get it to move is we are going to multiply by whatever that square root is. So in this case, the square root of 3 over the square root of 3. Now, why that is okay is because square root of 3 over square root of 3 is 1, and you can multiply anything you want by 1. It doesn't matter. So on top, you get 3 times the square root of 3, and you just have to leave it like that for right now. Now on the bottom, the square root of 3 times the square root of 3. When they're both in a square root, you can multiply. The 3 times the 3 makes 9. Now, the square root of 9 is a perfect square. It's just 3. And then these two 3's right here are both outside of the square root, so they can simplify. So 3 over 3 makes 1. And you're left with just 1 square root 3. You can have the 1 right there, or just the square root of 3. Okay, let's try another one. When it's in a large fraction like this, with the square root over the entire fraction, you can write it as the square root of the top number over the square root of the bottom number. Now, having the square root on the top and the numerator is not a problem. It's the bottom, the denominator, that is a problem. So we want to move this square root of 32. So we are going to multiply by the square root of 32. And we have to do it on top and bottom. Remember, the reason this is okay to do is because what I'm multiplying by right here is 1. When it's the same number over itself, it's just 1. So I'm multiplying by 1, and that is what makes this okay to do. Now on top, I can go ahead and I can do 5 times 32. They're both in square roots. I get the square root of 160. And same thing on the bottom. I can do 32 times 32, which is 1024. But since you multiplied the number times itself, it's going to be a perfect square root. So the square root of 1024 is just 32. Now, that would be fine, but this square root can also simplify, just like we had done previously. So it cannot simplify with the 32 right now because the 160 is in a square root, the 32 is not. So currently, it can't simplify like that, like breaking down the fraction. So what I can do is I can just kind of step out to the side and do the factor tree for 160. So that's 2 times 80, 2 times 40, 2 times 20, 2 times 10, and 2 times 5. Okay, so what that means is 160 is 2 times itself 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Sorry, 5 times the 5. So if I just do a quick check on my calculator, 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 5, yeah, that's 160. Okay, remember, you get to group them up in pairs. So these two can go together. That makes the square root of 4. These two can go together. That makes the square root of 4. The 2 and the 5 cannot. They come outside of a square root. We can go ahead and just multiply whatever's not in a little buddy right there together. So 2 times 5 is just 10. Okay, the square root of 4 is 2. The square root of 4 is 2. The square root of 10 is just some decimal. The 2 times the 2 makes 4. Okay, so this isn't like our answer. This is what 160 is. So up here, the square root of 160, you can change that to be 4 square root 10 over 32. Now, 4 over 32 is 1/8. So it's 1 square root 10 over 8. Or you don't have to have that 1. You can just have square root 10 over 8. And that's your completely simplified answer.